All right, guys, today's video, we're about 530 miles from Lighted Path Ranch. Our livestock trailer here that's aptly named Tetanus. We need to check out the bearings and repack them, repair some brakes, whatever we need to do. And also, you can't tell right now, but our sliding gate here on the back, it lost some of its skateboard type wheels off of it, rollers on the top. When you open it, it hangs down. I'm afraid I'm gonna hit a bump and lose it. So we're gonna do a quick repair on that today as well. And we're gonna show you how we do it. This is what I got going on. Got very little brakes and a whole lot of noise from the brakes. Last night I already snugged up this bearing, but I'm gonna check all the bearings, check the grease, see what they look like. I'm gonna pull this one back down and see what I need to do to fix the brakes. Well, this is what we had. When I pulled it off, had parts fall out. That was a good sign something was going on. And it's metal to metal. The drum is actually not real bad, and since we're probably not gonna get one local, or at least not cheap, it's got one little tiny groove in it. We're gonna keep it as is. We're gonna go get some shoes if we can find them. Put this back together, go ahead and pick up some for the others and have them. Well guys, that escalated real quickly when I went to get parts. I left here needing brake shoes, not knowing what the other three looked like. I knew needed shoes for that one axle side, so that tells me all of them need replacing. Nobody's gonna replace just one, I wouldn't. So, I needed bearings. Go ahead and get bearings to go all the way around, enough to get the job done. I went all around my local parts houses, found one in stock without ordering. One rear bearing, $19.99. And I was already going to get my brake shoes from a local axle supplier. Went there, they had the bearings, maybe thousands of them, at least hundreds. And they were $6 and some change, $12 for two, something like some kind of deal like that. Huge savings. Front bearings were the same way, just a fraction of the cost. So they don't sell just the brake shoes. Kind of got me worried when the lady said that, because I was looking for shoes and one hardware kit and shoes for all the way around. Well, it comes on the backing plate. I don't have to touch a spring or anything. They just bolt on and cut some wires on my electric coming in and resplice it. And all this, everything's new. The arms, the magnet to pull them in, everything's brand new, ready to go. Got the ticket on it, the invoice. Lo and behold, huge savings. I got these 4 backing plates for what just the bearings alone were going to cost. The backing plates and these bearings for what just the bearings alone were going to cost at any of the local auto parts stores. So guys, if you got an axle supply place somewhere, stop in and check in with them. You may need a store account, but you can do a cash account, open your own cash account and do whatever you got to do. I knew somebody that had one, so all I had to do was buy it under their account. But anyway, was all upset, worried about what it was going to cost. The Lord had already provided the money either way, so it was taken care of. He knew the need last night, what I was going to need today, before I even knew it, because I honestly didn't think I was going to need all this. But now I'm going to leave here with brakes that I've never had before. I barely had any since the trailer was donated to us. Now we're going to have brand new brakes. And if I find I need a drum, the one's gouged up bad, I'm going to go back before they close today and I'm going to get drums. So let's get to it and get the work done. Even though we keep tools on our truck to make repairs on the road, we were very blessed to be here at a friend's house that had a big service truck with multiple tools that we didn't have, that just made the job easier than it would have been on the side of the road. Very thankful. Thank you, Patches, for the use of your truck. All right, guys, we got that side done. Let's move to the other side and get it done and have twice as much fun. Here we go, guys. I just want to tell you what I'm looking for as I'm working on these. First thing I do is clean everything up. When I get that done, I check this spindle. The spindle's the shaft that everything turns on the end of your axle. And I'm looking for discoloration, cracks. And when I say cracks, like little fine hairline cracks is what I'm looking for. Big ones too, but any discoloration or deformation in it, anything that looks like it doesn't belong, scratches, whatever. This one looks pretty good for its age. And also down here on the drum, I look for bad grooves in the drum. This is the worst one out of the whole rig, and it's gonna stay on there just because we don't have time to go back today, and it's really not that bad. It'll be fine. But as far as bearings go, you have your bearing. I don't have a clean one. I'm not gonna put my hand on one right now, but you have your bearing here, and you see there's a taper to them. Well, if you come down here, this tapered piece of metal, it's actually driven or pressed inside this drum. You can knock them back out with a punch from the other side. But I feel and make sure they're smooth all the way around. You have an inner and an outer bearing and race. And it's called a race, this tapered piece of metal. You visually and physically check it. Make sure there's no discoloration like bluing or yellowing, anything other than that silver metal look. And if there's no hairline cracks or anything wrong with it, I wouldn't bother replacing it. And your bearings, the same thing. You look for any wear on your bearings, on your actual rollers here. Because new bearings have a little slop in the cage, which is the metal that holds all your roller bearings together. But you check it for wear, discoloration, any kind of grooves or anything in it. And if it's got excessive play in it, I'll go ahead and replace it. But when you go to do this, at least get one new bearing of each so you can compare them. And if you want to, get you a race if you've never done this before so you know what a race looks like. But I clean my bearings out and I repack them if I have to. And basically you just put a dollop of grease in your hand and you beat that bearing. You keep rolling around until grease packs in there and pushes out the other side. If it's an old bearing, even if you wash it pretty good, you'll probably get a little darker grease come out, and you'll see that and just wipe it away till it's red or whatever color your new grease is. Use high temp grease on these things, guys, because it's gonna get hot rolling down the road. I hope that helps. I'm gonna put you back on the tripod. Actually one of the worst brakes, but it's got the best rear bearing in it out of all three of them, I think. It actually looks and feels better than some of the new ones as far as play in the cage. Probably just better quality from back in the day. Don't have it. Yeah, it's American. Not that that means much nowadays. So guys, that's how you pack your bearings. You get your dab of grease in your hand. Just first time I've ever worn gloves doing it. You just know that you're gonna get greasy. You keep rolling that bearing around in your hand and keep slapping it, packing on it. I always grease that up so it's not going on there dry. Go ahead and put a little bit on the race and down in the center just a little bit. And everything covered in grease. There's guys that'll be a lot cleaner when they do it, but not me. I just buy extra grease because I know I'm going to get it everywhere and spread it all over the place. Be neck deep in it. And there's another thing that you're going to have to replace either way, is your seal. Sometimes you can get by in a pinch and reuse them if it's an emergency, but biggest thing when you're working in the grass or on the side of the road like this, keeping all that stuff out of it. All the sand and grass and whatnot. You just lightly tap that thing all the way around. If you got a big socket that'll fit the diameter of that thing, that's what I like to use, but I don't have one today. Once you get your rear one on, I got a little grease on the surface here that the magnet rides on, and that's going to cause issues. Not spraying it into the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and wash that a little bit around the outside of there. You don't want any on your braking surface either. It's important to clean all that because the grease gets on these pads. Well, it's like riding a Reed's roller coaster when you want to be stopping. It just ain't going to come out good for you. Might as well not replace the brakes. Just gut them out if you're going to do that. Spray them with some brake clean. I'm wiping these. If you spray them with enough brake cleaner, it'll rinse right off. It'll dry as fast, so don't spray it in there with your grease. It'll just weaken it. All right. Once you get done, there's adjustment down here on the bottom. You can stick a brake adjustment tool or a flathead screwdriver through there and crank on it till your pads are just barely not touching when the brakes release. Your shoes rather are barely not touching when the brakes release, and then you're good to go. Same thing, you clean up your outer bearing. Actually, I got a new one left. Instead of having a new one left, I'm gonna pack the new one and put it in there. Keep some of these that still look decent as spares, put in the old toolbox there for the emergency situation. Since people at Advance Auto Parts and Riley's and AutoZone don't seem to know how to find a bearing by the part number that's stamped on or printed on the side, etched on the bearing itself, it's good to keep one with you. At one place flat up, told me I had to go to U-Haul. I don't know what U-Haul had to do with my trailer bearings, but so I finally ended up going where I knew would have them. If they sold the axles, I was gonna buy axles if I had to. I was tired of messing with it. A little bit more. I can see a little bit more coming through there. You don't want any air in there. If you got air in there, that means you got metal to metal. Grease that race up real good. All right. Give me that lid over there, Jace. The lid to the grease.
Oh. Can I paint him away?
I want to cover the grease up for me. Thing gets in there. Don't forget to put your washers back on, guys, or you're not doing anything. This is called a castle nut because it looks like the top of a castle. Get the pliers clean if there is such a thing at this point. At least get grass off of it. Process here is turn it all the way as tight as it'll go. Spin it, make sure it moves. Tighten it up some more. Spin it, make sure it moves. Tighten it some more. Spin it, make sure it moves. Pin cleaned up. Now back it off, line my pin up with the hole to one of the sleeves of the castle, the slots in it. Tap it back through. If you're having a beat on this with a hammer or something, you need to take that nut and do some adjusting on it. Get it in the right position. Also take your screwdriver, push on it like right there. About every one of these, I think, that I pulled out, but this one, the key wasn't bent on the end. So apparently, they never fall out if you don't bend them, but I always bend at least one side of them just a little bit. You ain't got to flatten them over, but spread them just enough that you can't back out. I don't think they can back out with the cap on anyway, but why take chances? I'm being broke down on the side of the road. I've seen some people take these caps here and pack them full of grease, put a big old wad of grease on there, and then they lose them. You see people with these lost down the road, some parked on the side of the road, or just you have a trailer that these off of and you had just done work to it. I put just a little bit around the outside. It just helps keep some moisture out of there if it gets in there. If you don't want to fill this cap up, to me this is more of a dust cap than a grease cap. It's to keep the dust and dirt out of you bearing your grease. Because it builds up pressure when you drive it on, and then it gets hot, it builds up more pressure and it pops it right off. And I'm telling you this from experience, not from anything I've been taught in school. It's just me owning equipment and trailers and working for other people that own equipment and trailers. Part of my duties about everywhere I've worked has been keeping the equipment up, so. So that's that. I'm gonna clean up and put the tires back on, and I'm done with this part. The gate will get fixed another day. Well guys, me and Mayhem and the Gourd Show got the trailer back together. What we didn't show on videos, while we had the wheels up in there where they would spin, got on the back side and pulled the little rubber slotted plugs out, got in there with a big screwdriver, adjusted them, spun them in the direction that they go forward until you could barely feel a little bit of tension hitting them from the brake shoes. Got them all equal the same. Now we got great working brakes for the first time. We got good brakes on this trailer. We came home safely back to Lighted Path Ranch. Just hope this encourages you that with God's help and his guidance, you can do anything on the side of the road, in a friend's yard, a sister's carport, wherever you can get to. Don't give up. You can fix it. Thank you guys. Another video's come to an end. Hope you enjoyed it.
Please like, subscribe, and follow us on social media.
And as always, God gets the glory for the good in our lives, and Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior. Hope he's yours. Feel free to reach out to us with prayer requests, questions, with anything. Don't hesitate to the email in the description. Thank you and God bless.